Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. I'm your host, Name. Tonight, we're bringing you a special news recap covering the latest developments in the Middle East that are putting global peace talks at risk. Iran's warning of retaliation hangs over fragile negotiations with the U.S., while tensions escalate on the Korean Peninsula and Israel signals war is not yet done. We'll also examine a potential military AI game-changer when Chinese and U.S. leaders meet. Let's dive into the stories behind these headlines and see what's at stake for international relations. Following a recent escalation in tensions between Iran and the United States, diplomatic efforts to revive the Middle East peace process appear increasingly uncertain. Good evening, I'm your Name, and this is your news recap for today. Reports of U.S. fire on Iranian-linked tankers in the Gulf of Oman have sparked tensions between Washington and Tehran. According to eyewitnesses, a U.S. Navy destroyer was involved in the incident, which occurred in the early hours of Tuesday morning local time. The USS John S. McCain, a U.S. Navy destroyer, reportedly came under attack by an unexploded mine while en route from the United Arab Emirates. The incident has raised concerns among Iranian officials, who have since warned of retaliation against American targets in the region. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson, Abbas Araghchi, said that the U.S. had crossed a red line and would face consequences for its actions. In response, the U.S. Navy has increased security patrols in the Gulf, with multiple ships deployed to the area. The incident comes as diplomatic efforts continue over a proposed deal involving sanctions, nuclear limits, and maritime security. The agreement, which is aimed at curbing Iran's ballistic missile program, has been the subject of intense negotiations between world powers. However, tensions have risen since U.S. President Donald Trump announced the withdrawal of the United States from the landmark 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action (JCPOA) deal with Iran. The situation remains fluid and volatile, with both sides dug in over their positions. The international community is watching closely as the crisis unfolds, and experts warn that a miscalculation could lead to catastrophic consequences. We will continue to monitor the situation and provide updates as more information becomes available. Following a recent escalation in tensions between Israel and Iran, Prime Minister Naftali Bennett has warned that the conflict is not yet resolved. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that the war with Iran is not over, despite a ceasefire agreement in place since April 8th. In an interview with CBS News, Netanyahu stated that the objectives of the U.S.-Israeli war against Tehran include removing enriched uranium, dismantling enrichment sites, halting ballistic missile production, and neutralizing Iran's proxies in the region. Netanyahu claimed that there is still work to be done because Iran still possesses capabilities despite having its military significantly reduced. He refused to elaborate on whether Israel would take direct action to seize uranium from Iran, but stated that U.S. President Donald Trump had pledged to support this effort. According to Israeli media, Trump told Netanyahu that he wanted to go in and take the uranium. Iran has responded to the latest U.S. proposal for ending the war by sending its response to Pakistani mediators. Regional tensions have escalated since February 28th, when the U.S. and Israel launched strikes against Iran, triggering retaliation from Tehran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. A ceasefire agreement was reached on April 8th, but Netanyahu's comments suggest that the conflict is far from over. The situation remains volatile, with the possibility of further escalation looming. The involvement of multiple countries and the threat of military action make this a highly sensitive issue. The international community will be watching closely as negotiations unfold, and any miscalculation could lead to catastrophic consequences. Following a tumultuous day in global politics, U.S. President Donald Trump has launched a new attack on Iran over its recent response to a ceasefire agreement. U.S. President Donald Trump has fired back at Iran's response to Washington's ceasefire proposal, accusing Tehran of playing games with the United States and the rest of the world for 47 years. In a post on his Truth Social platform, Trump claimed that Iran will be laughing no longer. This comes after Iran responded to the U.S. proposal by rejecting key demands, including the removal of sanctions. The ceasefire proposal was put forward by the U.S. last month, with Secretary of State Antony Blinken traveling to Tehran to negotiate a deal. However, Iran's response has been largely dismissive, with Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian stating that the U.S. had not shown any serious commitment to the negotiations. Trump's comments have drawn criticism from some in Washington, who argue that his approach is unlikely to succeed. "This is just more empty rhetoric from Trump," said former U.S. diplomat and current CNN analyst Ali Masniemi. "We need a serious and sustained effort from the U.S. government to negotiate a deal with Iran." The JCPOA, also known as the Iran nuclear deal, was agreed upon in 2015 under the Obama administration. The deal imposed significant restrictions on Iran's nuclear program in exchange for relief from economic sanctions. However, Trump withdrew the U.S. from the deal in 2018 and reimposed sanctions on Iran, prompting Tehran to begin enriching uranium at higher levels. A mysterious incident has unfolded in the Strait of Hormuz, where a Korean cargo ship came under attack by an unidentified aircraft on Monday. A South Korean cargo ship, HMM was hit by unidentified aircraft in the Strait of Hormuz 6 days ago. The Foreign Ministry in Seoul stated that 2 planes struck the outer plate of a ballast tank at the stern of the vessel, causing fires and smoke. U.S. President Donald Trump claims Iran was involved in the attack, saying it had taken some shots at the Panama-flagged ship. He urged South Korea to join U.S. operations aimed at restoring normal shipping through the strait. Iran has denied any involvement, with its embassy in Seoul stating that it firmly rejects and categorically denies any allegations regarding its forces' participation. The attack comes as tensions between Iran and the West remain high following a U.S.-led war launched on February 28 against Tehran. Since then, Iran has responded with attacks across the Middle East and imposed a chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, which is a vital waterway for global energy trade. The incident highlights the ongoing security concerns in the region. The closure of the strait due to these tensions has already had significant economic implications, rattling global energy markets. The attack on the HMM Namu further underscores the risks faced by shipping vessels operating through the area. Diplomatic efforts are likely to be crucial in resolving this situation and restoring normal navigation through the strait. As tensions between China and the United States continue to escalate, a potential game-changer in global diplomacy is set to come under scrutiny tonight. The meeting between Chinese and U.S. leaders marks an increasingly complex landscape in their relationship. This week, President Donald Trump's visit to China comes as tensions with Iran continue to escalate, disrupting global energy supplies and fueling economic uncertainty. As the U.S.-Iran conflict unfolds, it has heightened concerns about the potential for military escalation. The U.S. has imposed new sanctions on Iranian oil exports, leading to a sharp rise in prices. This development has significant implications for countries like China, which relies heavily on Iranian oil imports. In this context, a landmark visit from President Trump to China may be an opportunity for both sides to discuss key areas of contention. One such area is the use of military artificial intelligence, AI. The technology has gained importance in recent years as militaries around the world look to upgrade their capabilities. However, the US and China have struggled to reach a consensus on how AI should be used militarily. This week's meeting may provide an opportunity for both sides to engage in more detailed discussions about this issue. In 2024, the two countries reached an understanding that only humans, rather than computers, should decide whether to use nuclear weapons. This understanding is seen as a crucial step towards reducing tensions between the US and China, which have long been wary of each other's military intentions. With the current conflict with Iran adding fresh strain to Washington-Beijing ties, the meeting marks an important moment in the relationship between the two powers. And that's all for today's news recap. We'll continue to monitor the situation in Iran and the Middle East closely. Thanks for watching and staying with us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on current events from around the world. Our goal is to bring you accurate, unbiased information as it happens. We'll be back tomorrow with more news and analysis.